Greetings, counseling graduate students, and welcome to the webinar on DuPont Ball Library resources that will be useful for you. My name is Grace Koletsky, and you are more than welcome to contact me later on with any questions you have about the library or research or anything that I'm talking about today. My contact information is at the top of the screen, but you are also welcome to use the general reference Ask Librarian service for any questions that you have using the information on the bottom of the screen. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. So the purpose of this webinar is to help you become familiar with some of the library databases that will be most useful for the kind of research that you are doing in a counseling graduate program. You will learn how to use a citation management tool called RefWorks that is really useful for saving, organizing, and then citing your sources. And you'll become familiar with where and how you can get help with research through the DuPont Ball Library. So this is our agenda today, and I'm putting this up here so that if you want to go back and look at just one specific thing that we're talking about today, it might make it easier for you to jump to it. So I'm going to start off by talking about some of the library services that are going to be most useful for graduate students. Then I will show you how to set up an account with RefWorks. Next, I'll be talking about 4 specific databases, including Counseling and Therapy and Video, Psychotherapy.net, Mental Measurements Yearbook, and PsycInfo. So I'm going to go ahead and transition to the library website. This is where you can find information about everything I'm going to be talking about today. And bear with me just a moment while I go ahead and pull that up on my screen. So this is the library website. I am going to first direct your attention to this gray bar at the top of the page with all the different links that have menus. And the first one I want you to take a look at is the link labeled Services. And the 4th option down on this menu is labeled Library Services for Graduate Students. So this is the page on our website that we put together just for you. You'll see on the left-hand side of this page we have links for resources that are going to be useful when you have a question about accessing or borrowing something from our collection. And then on the right we have information about the different kinds of research help we offer to support you. So I'm not going to talk about every single one of the links on this page right now, but I am going to highlight a few that I think are going to be most useful for you. So first of all, on the left here, this first link is labeled Access from Off-Campus. So all of the electronic content that the DuPont Ball Library provides you with, whether that's databases, ebooks, electronic journals, streaming videos, anything like that that we have that's online, you can access from anywhere you are in the world. You do not need to be on campus or anything like that. In order to log in from off campus, you will only need to have your Stetson username and password, and that is the same information that you would use to log in to My Stetson or Blackboard or your Stetson email or anything like that. The username and password are exactly the same. The easiest way to go ahead and log in from off campus is to start by going to My Stetson and then logging in to that page with your username and password. So I'm opening it up, but I'm already logged in. I'm going to click on the menu labeled Resources here and just point out that there is a menu here for the DuPont Ball Library, and this link here says Library Databases. So if you were to log in and get to the databases this way from off campus, once you go ahead and choose a database and start searching, you shouldn't have any problems accessing any content that we subscribe to. But more on these databases later. So I'm going to go back now to the library services page. And the next thing I want to point out is this third bullet point under access and borrowing, labeled interlibrary loan. If you come across a book, a chapter of a book, a dissertation, or any kind of article that you would like to use or read and the DuPont Ball Library does not have it, you can request it through a service called Interlibrary Loan. This is a service that is completely free for you. All you need to do is come to this page and choose the right form. So you'll see there's a separate form for books and for articles. You will fill out your contact information, and then you'll fill out information about the article or book that you are requesting, and then you'll hit submit. And after you submit that form, we will try to find that source for you from another library and get it here for you. Next, back on the services page, I'll point out a few things under research help. So the first link here is labeled research guides. When you click on it, it will take you to this page. Research guides are online tutorials that myself and other librarians here at Stetson have put together on different research topics. So some of them are on specific subjects, some of them are on databases, some of them are on topics related to using information like citations or plagiarism or things like that. You can see that they're organized by subject on this page. So I'm just going to scroll down to the C's, and you'll see the link labeled counseling. And we'll click on that and open the guide labeled counselor education. So this can sort of serve as a jumping off point if you are not exactly sure what database is going to be most useful for your needs and what other resources we have that might be useful for you beyond databases. You'll see on the left here we have links to pages about reference sources, books, and a few other things. Next, I will show you the Ask a Librarian information. Anytime you have a question about research or the library, you can call or text the number on this page. That's 386-747-9028. Or you can email this email address, libref@stetson.edu, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can with an answer to your question. If you ask your question during the hours listed on this page, right under where it says on-call librarian hours, you'll get a response pretty quickly, either basically instantly or just within a few minutes. Because if a librarian is on call, that means your questions are our top priority. So that's a really quick and easy way to get help. Another thing you can do, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you on this page, is schedule a research consultation. And that's the third bullet point here under research help. So if you'd actually like to set up a one-on-one meeting with a librarian, you can request that by filling out this form. And this is going to be a really good thing to do when you have a big research project going on and you are just getting started, or maybe you're partway through it and you're just struggling to find research and sources. I highly recommend setting up an appointment with me or one of the other librarians, and we can just sit down with you and show you the best resources and strategies for your topic. We are available to meet either in person, over Skype, or over phone. So if you are not in the DeLand area, don't worry about it. We are more than happy to have an appointment with you over Skype video chat or just over the phone. Okay, that's all the services I'm going to talk about today. So back on the library homepage, I'll direct your attention to the gray ribbon at the top of the page again. And this time I'm going to hover over Research Help. And you'll see that the fourth link in this menu is labeled RefWorks. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that link. It'll take you to a page that looks like this. I have already used RefWorks on this computer, so that's why my email address is showing up here. But if you don't have an account, you'll need to click on the white text here that says create account, and then sign up for an account using your stetson.edu email address. And then you'll make your password, and then you'll get an email confirmation. And once you do that, you'll be set up with your RefWorks account and you'll be ready to get started with it. So since I already have an account, I'm going to go ahead and log into mine so you can see what this is. So as I said earlier, RefWorks is a citation management tool, which means basically you can use it to make your own database that only has content that you want to save in it. So when we're looking in databases like PsycInfo or Google Scholar or Counselor Education and Video, anything like that, you can take the sources you're finding in all those different databases and put them all in one place in your RefWorks account. So that makes it really easy for you to stay organized. So right now you can see in my account, we're looking at all of my documents. So you can see all the wide variety of things that I've added from dozens and dozens of different databases. And I have them all here in one place. And I can use my folders on the left-hand side of the page here to organize them by project or by theme or whatever really you want to do with your folders, you can. So we're set up in RefWorks, and I'm actually going to close out of this for now, and we'll be coming back to it again throughout the webinar today. Okay. So let's turn to the library homepage now and take a look at some databases. You can get to our list of databases either through My Stetson, which I showed you how to do earlier. This time I'm going to click on the Databases tab in the middle of the library homepage, and you'll see we have options here to sort databases by subject, and I'm going to go ahead and jump to the counseling databases by choosing counseling from the list and clicking Go. So out of the 237, I believe, databases that the DuPont Ball Library subscribes to, there are 15 that will be especially useful for counseling students. Now, I'm not going to talk about all 15 of these in this webinar. I'm just going to highlight 4 of them that are, most likely to be most useful for most people. But of course, any questions about the others are more than welcome. And you'll notice that below the name of each database, so here we have the name of the database in blue, and that's a link that'll take you to it. And below it, we have a little blurb that tells you just what kind of content you are going to find in that database. So some of them are really general, like Academic Search Complete is going to have a wide variety of sources on a wide variety of subjects. Others are going to be really, narrow. Some of them just have videos. Others just have news. Others have a wide variety of content. And then some of them are going to be just about a particular subject, like SocIndex just has sociology and social science content, and ERIC just has education content. So the first one I want to talk about is called Counseling and Therapy and Video. And as you can probably guess, this is a database that just has videos that are somehow about counseling and therapy. Now, there are 2 major different ways you can search the database. You can browse all of the content either by therapeutic approach, like it has over here on the upper left-hand side. If you want to see, videos on multicultural counseling, role-playing, group counseling, whatever, you could just go ahead and click on that link. And we have a couple of other categories on the left under Browse that aren't shown here, like title, discipline, clinician, presenting condition, subject, and publishers. So you could just sort through that list that way and see if there's anything that you want to view. Or you can actually search using the search box on the right-hand side of the screen. So we have our basic search right here, and you'll notice to the right of it we have an advanced search page. In a database, I always recommend going straight to the advanced search because you just have so much more control over what kind of content that you'll get in your search page. We have all these different criteria we can apply to our search right here, and you can use as many of these as you want to when you're searching. But since I'm not actually working on a research project right now, I'm just going to use the basic search, and I'm going to do a search for play therapy just to see what comes up. So here is a list of 55 videos that are somehow about play therapy. You can sort these further using the options on the left-hand side of the page. Once you click on them, it'll give you, options that you can use to sort these down. So for example, under subject, one of the options is populations, age groups. If you just wanted to see the videos about children or adolescents, we could use those filters to narrow this down from 55 to 18. So I'm just going to open up one of these videos so you can see what you can actually do with it. It's going to start playing automatically, but I'm going to go ahead and pause it since we don't actually want to watch it right now. So over here on the right, we have got 4 different options at the top of the page. The first one is labeled details, and this is where you can, pretty much just find out what exactly this video is about, who made this, how long is it, that kind of stuff. The second tab is labeled transcript. So, So obviously this is where you could actually go ahead and read the video as you're playing it. And one neat thing about this is if you, are just browsing the transcript and you see a part that you want to go ahead and jump right to, you could just click on the text and it will take you to that part in the video. The third menu at the top here is segments. So you can see a little bit more about how this video is organized, and if you want to jump straight to a particular section or a particular clip, you can do that here. And then finally, on the right, we have this menu labeled related documents, and not every video has this, but many of them do. It's a PDF file of supplementary materials, and this can have a range of things in it. Usually it'll include a full transcript of the video, discussion questions, background information, all kinds of different stuff. And you could just download that from this page, and now we can get the PDF. We don't want to do that right now. So next I want to direct your attention to these little gray buttons underneath the video screen. The scissor icon actually allows you to make a clip. So out of this 54-minute video, if you just wanted to save, 2 or 3 minutes of it, you could cut that out and make your own video clip using this icon. Or you could, bookmark your current position. So if you stop watching it and you wanted to go back to where you left off, you could use that feature to do that. These 2 options, the bookmarking and the making a clip feature, are only available if you make an account in the database and then are signed in. That's something that you can create for free. In the upper right-hand corner of the page, you'll see this little human kind of looking icon, and if you click on that, this is where you can log in. But if you don't have an account yet, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the link labeled Create New Account. And so you would just, set up your username and password, and then that's all free, and then you'll have the option to make those clips and use the bookmark feature. Okay, now I want to show you the blue links that are just below the video. Send to mobile is something you can do if you actually wanted to just text the video to yourself, which is kind of cool. We also have an option to email this to yourself if you'd like to do that. I'm going to click on the one that says Cite. It's the first blue link on the left with the little quotation mark icon next to it. So once you're ready to cite this video, you can just click on that link, and on the left here under Options, we have a list of citation styles. So you can choose one of the styles from this list. I'll just click on APA, and it will generate an APA citation for you for your paper. So you could go ahead and just copy and paste this into your paper or email the citation to yourself or whatever you need to do with it. What I'm going to do now is click on the Export List link. So under this option menu, it is the fourth link down, so I will click on that so I can see all my options for exporting this source. And it's giving me a list of citation management software tools, but the one we're working with today is RefWorks. So I'm going to click on the bubble next to RefWorks and then click on Send. And a new tab is opening. It is asking me which version of RefWorks I want to use. Just so you know, the black and orange version of RefWorks is old and it's going to be phased out sometime in the near future. So what we're working with today is the blue RefWorks. So I'm going to click on the blue RefWorks and that will open in a new tab my RefWorks account. You don't have to already be logged in for this to work. If we weren't logged in, it would just take us to a login page, and then it would go ahead and import our citation automatically. It says import complete, so that's letting me know that my video citation has successfully made it into my RefWorks account. So I'll click on OK, and it takes me to the list of last imported citations. So here it is at the top, and I can click on the checkbox. I can click on that, and then on the right, a panel opens, and now I see all my information about this, and I can go in and double check and make sure that this is all right, and if it's not, I can edit it myself. So for example, if you wanted to add the director, you could just go ahead and type this in manually and save it. What I'm going to do now to stay organized is check on the checkbox next to my video citation, and then at the top of the page, click on the folder icon. And I'm going to add this to my counseling folder. I could also create a new folder if that's what I wanted to do. So I'll click on counseling, apply, and it's been added to my folder. So that's it for counseling and therapy and video. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this tab and move on to the next database, which is psychotherapy.net. Psychotherapy.net is another video database that the DuPont Ball Library subscribes to. It's taking just a minute to load for me. So there are actually only 50 videos in this database, so that's not really too many that you couldn't just, go to the bottom and then keep going to the next page until you've seen them all. But of course, you do have options over here to browse to see all the videos on a specific approach, therapeutic issue by specific expert or for a specific population, and then also to search in the upper right-hand corner here. So I'll go ahead and search for a random topic, therapy. And that takes me a list of 4 videos that are somehow about art therapy. Once again, you can view this online. I'm going to click on the title for one, and this little pop-up box will open that will tell me exactly what this is about and give me a link to view the video. And much like the last database, over here on the right, we have options to jump to a specific chapter, so a specific section in the video. We can view the description over here on the right, and we can make clips once again if we are logged in. And many of these will have a green button that says download manual, and just like in the last database that had a PDF where you could download a packet of information like the transcript, background information, and other things like that, you can do the same thing here in this database. So we've got 56 pages of information about this video and its topic. Our transcript this time is here on the bottom. And you can actually download this if you just want to download the transcript by hovering over this blue icon. Where you could print it out. So yeah, that's it for psychotherapy.net. I'm going to close out of that and go back again to the counseling database list. So the next thing I promised to show you is called Mental Measurements Yearbook. So that's under additional databases, and these are in alphabetical order. So here's Mental Measurements Yearbook. As I said earlier, this database has reviews of testing instruments. So if you are looking for a testing instrument on a particular topic, or if you want to know a little bit more about a specific testing instrument, this is a good database for you to use. You'll notice at the bottom here, in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a filter labeled test category. So this is going to be where you might want to start if you need to find a test. You have an issue that you're wanting to test, but you don't know what tests you might want to use. So you can just scroll through this list and I'll just click on developmental and hit search. And that takes me to 231 reviews of developmental testing instruments. I can narrow this down a little bit. Let's say you are only interested in infant development. And we could do that by typing infant into the top search box here and hitting search. And now we've got only 37 tests, but these are all ones that are somehow related to infants. You can also look up a particular test. So I'm going to look up the Myers-Briggs test. And let's see, what did I do wrong? Myers-Briggs type indicator. Oh no. Okay, that's a little odd because I messed up. I didn't take up all these filters on developmental. So I'll change this test category back to all. I'm going to go to new search so I can refresh everything. And now I'll type in Myers-Briggs. And now I've got 6 results. So we've got 6 reviews here on the Myers-Briggs type indicator. So when you find a test you want to learn a little more about, you can just click on the title of it. And now we've got lots of different information here. We've got, authors, publication date, purpose, time, cost, and then if you scroll to the bottom, you'll get to a review of the test. And you could download this as an HTML file using the link in the upper left-hand corner. Once again, on the right-hand side, this time we have a tools menu, and these are options that we have for saving this piece of information. So you could go ahead and print this page out or email it to yourself. I'm going to click on Cite first so that you can see all the different citation styles you have here that you could copy and paste. So once again, if you're using APA, here's APA, and we could just copy and paste this into the paper. This has a lot more different styles than the other database did. But what I'm going to do now is click on the link labeled Export. It's right under Cite in the Tools menu. And when I click on that, it will open a green box labeled Export Manager. This time the third bubble from the bottom says Direct Export to RefWorks. And I'm going to click on that and then hit the yellow Save button. And once again, it's opening a new tab and it's asking me which version of RefWorks I would like to use. Just remember, it's the blue RefWorks that we're working with. Same drill as before, saving my document. I click on OK. Here's my source. Once again, we can click on it. On the right, we'll get all the information. This time we have a URL. So later on, when you log into RefWorks again and you want to go back to that page we were just looking at here in the database, you can just get into RefWorks and click on the URL. So this one says search.ebscohost.com, which is a little mysterious, but it should take you right back to this page. And again, I'm going to check the box so that I can put this into my counseling folder. All right, so that was Mental Measurements Yearbook. Now let's move on to our fourth and final database, which is PsycInfo. So PsycInfo is a database that's going to be useful for finding all sorts of scholarly content. So this is where you can find journal articles, books, dissertations, conference materials, lots of different things related to psychology and counseling. There are two different ways to search this that I'm going to show you today. So the first search strategy is going to be useful if you kind of have a general idea of your research topic, but you're really not sure what direction you want to go with it, and you're just kind of browsing the literature to see what's out there. I'm going to scroll down to see all of our different search filters here. So we could go ahead and search by publication type, age group, intended audience, methodology, type of document, population group that the study is about. We have a lot of different options here. So this looks a lot like Mental Measurements because it's the same vendor that creates it, EBSCOhost, but you can tell by all these different options that this is a completely different database. So looks similar, but it's really not similar at all. So I am going to say, maybe I am interested in learning about how preschool students learn, but I don't really know, anything more specific than that. I can look under age groups here on the left, and I will choose preschool age from this list. And under classification codes, you'll see we have all these different subjects. I'm going to see if there's one about learning. So here's one on learning and memory. I'll click on that and then click on search. You notice we didn't type anything into the search box up here. We just added the filter for preschool age and learning and memory, and that gave us 190 results. So this is 190 sources that are somehow about preschool kids and learning. So we can go ahead and narrow this down further using the panel on the left-hand side of the page. For example, right now you'll see we're looking at content published since 1939, and I'm guessing most of the time you don't really care what they were saying in 1939. So I'm going to change this to, say, 2010, but you can change it to whatever you think is appropriate. And that cut out a ton of stuff, so now we're down to only 22 results. And we can continue narrowing this down using all these other different filters if we'd like to. So the next search strategy I want to show you is going to be better if you know pretty much exactly what you're looking for. You have your topic all fleshed out, and you're trying to find a source that is going to be really helpful for that topic. So let's say, for example, maybe your topic is, I'm going to go to a new search here so I can get rid of all those old filters. Let's say that your topic is, how can counseling help college students who abuse drugs? So a lot of people do what I'm doing right now. They just type in a whole question or a whole sentence or phrase into the search box. That is always a bad idea, and I'm going to show you why. I typed in that whole sentence. I only got one result. And I know there's got to be more out there on this topic than this just one result that seems to only even be about alcohol abuse. So what I am going to do instead, and this is what I recommend doing all the time, is breaking your research question up into the most important concepts. So in this case, that's probably going to be counseling college students and drug abuse. And I'm going to put each concept in a separate search box. So I'll put counseling in the first box. I'll put college students in the second box. And in the third box, I'll put, let's say, substance abuse. And I'll hit the search box again, search button again. And now we've got 411 results to choose from, which sounds a lot more reasonable than just one. So once again, just like I showed you in the last search, you can use all of these options here on the left under Find Results to narrow this search down a little bit more. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how to access this content. So you'll notice that each source has a little icon right below it. So this first one we know is a dissertation or a thesis. The second and third ones are a book. And I'm going to click on the title to get some more information about it. So now I see, I can look next to source here, and I see that this is actually a book chapter. But how do we actually, find out if the library has this book? I'm going to copy the title of the book, which is College Student Mental Health Counseling and Developmental Approach. I'm going to copy that and go back to the library website in another tab. And this time I'm going to click on Catalog, and I will paste the title of the book into that search box. And I hit the search button, and we have got a result. So it looks like this is the same book. So the DuPont Ball Library does have this book. And this is actually an ebook. So if you wanted to read this, all you need to do is click on the blue link that says URL right here. And we can go ahead and start reading it online. Here's our table of contents. So we could find that chapter that we were looking at in PsycInfo, which is substance abuse and dependence treatment in the college setting. Looks like we'll have to drill down a little more to find it. So it should be somewhere here in this list. But once you find it, I'll just click on a random one. We could go ahead and read this chapter online. We could download it as a PDF or print it out. Now, just to, just FYI, you can't download or print out the whole book. There's usually going to be a limit on the number of pages you can download or print. So just keep an eye out for that. It usually says right here on the main page for the book what your limit is. So for this book, we can copy 57 pages or print out 114 pages or download a single chapter. Okay, so I'll just reiterate, the catalog right here is going to be the best resource to use if you need to find out if the library has a specific book. So let's go back to PsycInfo and look at some of these other types of sources. Let's see, number 9 right here. I know that this is an academic journal article because the icon makes that really clear. And this one, I can actually get the PDF for the full article right here from this page. In the upper left-hand corner, we've got the link that says PDF full text, and we could just go ahead and click on that and download the whole article right now. So sometimes it's going to be that easy to get your article. Now, other times you're going to have a different link here. It's not always going to say PDF full text when you're looking for an article. Number 8, for example, instead of PDF full text, this one says full text finder and has this little green circle next to it. So that means that the library might have it, it might not have it, It might have it electronically, it might have it in print. We just got to click on this link to find out. So I'm clicking on the link and hopefully it's going to take me to a page where I can download the PDF. Now sometimes it might be a blank screen. When that happens, just click on this blue link that says Launch Full Text in a new window at the top of the page. And here we go. So this is an article that the library has, and we could go ahead and read this whole thing online or download it as a PDF or print it out or whatever. Back to the search page, I also want to point out what happens when that link is just not there at all, like with number 5. This is an academic journal article, but I looked in the same place that the other two had a link, and this one doesn't have a link. So what I can do now to find out if the library has access to this journal article is actually copy the title of the journal. So that's going to be next to source. And I say this one is from the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs. So I will copy that journal title and go back to the library website again, and this time I'm going to click on the tab labeled journals list in the middle of the page, and I will paste the name of that journal in there and hit search. And it looks like the library does have this journal, because if we didn't, it just wouldn't come up in the search results. But first I need to see what kind of access we have to it. So I'll click on full text access. And I see there are about half a dozen databases that have the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs, but they all have limited coverage. You'll see the dates right next to each one tell us that they all actually have only issues from 2007 to 2011. So let's see if the article we're looking for falls within that date range. So here we are, next to source, we'll have the additional information, and it looks like this article was actually published in the July 2015 issue. So unfortunately, the DuPont Ball Library does not have access to the full text of this article. But just like I showed you earlier, if you still wanted this one, you could use Interlibrary Loom to request it. And so that's, an easy and free way to get access to content that we don't have. So I'm going to do one more thing on this page. Under Tools on the right-hand side, this is just like mental measurements. We have options here to cite and get our APA style citation. And then we also have an option to export, direct export this to RefWorks. A new tab is opening, and I want the blue RefWorks once again. I click on OK. And I'm going to add that to my counseling folder and hit apply. So I've showed you 4 databases today, and 3 of them had a link that allowed me to export content from the database into RefWorks. So I'm going to take a look now at my counseling folder that I've been working on, and I see all of the sources that I've added today from 3 different databases, all right here in one place. So let's say you are finished with your research phase and you're ready to put together your works cited page. RefWorks can help you with that too. All you need to do is check the box next to the sources you want to cite, or if you want to cite all of them, you can click on Select All at the top of the page. And now I'm going to click on this little quotation mark icon near the top. And when I click on that, it gives me 3 options, and the first one says Create Bibliography. So I will click on that link. And here is my bibliography. You'll see that it has defaulted for me to MLA 8th edition, which you can see at the top of the page. That's just because that is a citation style I happen to use most recently. There are tens of thousands of citation styles in here, so no matter what it is you need, chances are RefWorks can format it for you. So if you need to change it, you can search or you can, I see that I have APA 6 in my most recently used style, so I'm going to click on APA, and it is automatically going to reformat my citations into APA style. So now I can easily copy this by clicking on the blue button, and now I can paste it into my paper. So super easy. Just be aware that these are not always going to be right. There are typos and these things all the time. Anytime the computer is making your citations for you, it's not going to be perfect. So make sure you go back and double check these, but hopefully it'll save you some time anyway, especially with the keeping it all in one place feature. There are a lot of other features that RefWorks has that I'm not showing in this webinar today. I'm just going to show you where you can learn a little bit more about them. Back on the Grad Student Services page, I'm going to go to our research guides one more time. And this time I'm going to scroll down to the subject heading labeled Using Information. And you'll see that the third from the bottom guide is labeled New RefWorks. So this is a tutorial for using RefWorks that I put together. And you'll see on the left-hand side, we have all these different features that RefWorks offers. So if you want to learn more about any of those, it can do things like save content from Google. It can save your PDFs. You can share it with, if you're working on a group project, you can share it with your group members. It can do a lot of different things. So I recommend checking out this tutorial if you want to learn a little bit more about it. So other than that, that is it for the webinar. I'm just going to leave you one more time with the Ask a Librarian information right here. So any questions you have about anything, please feel free to shoot us a text, call, or email, and be more than happy to help you out. So that's it. Thank you very much for viewing the webinar.